Navigating turbulent political waters has become increasingly difficult for the economic community of West African states, a vision of regional integration and economic development. A growing wave of political difficulties threatens to undermine the bloc's accomplishments, despite some achievements in trade, infrastructure, and fostering peace. In the most recent turn out of events, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have decided to withdraw from the bloc, accusing them of inhumane sanctions. So, in this video, we are going to find out the root causes behind this decision. We are also going to see the challenges the bloc has faced in recent years. Let's delve right in. On Sunday, the military leaders of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali jointly announced that they would all be leaving the economic community of West African states immediately. The statement, which was aired on state television in each of the three countries, said that the decision to leave was made with full sovereign authority, and that, after almost 50 years of existence, ECOWAS had strayed from Pan-Africanism and the principles of its founding fathers. These military leaders contended that ECOWAS was influenced by foreign powers and had become a threat to its member states and their populations. ECOWAS suspended the three countries following military coups that overthrew their democratically elected governments, in Niger last July, in Burkina Faso in 2022, and in Mali in 2020 and 2021. Since then, the three nations have joined forces to form the Alliance of Sahel States, a defense alliance that promises to support one another in protecting its territorial integrity from both internal and external threats. They have also cut military and cooperation ties with former colonial power France and turned to Russia for security support. These three countries started working hand in glove after the Niger coup, which ousted President Bazoum. Niger's military leaders announced that Burkina Faso and Mali had pledged their support to the coup leaders and offered military assistance if Niger was attacked. Bear in mind that in August 2023, ECOWAS agreed on a D-Day for possible military intervention to restore democracy in Niger. The bloc said most of its member states were ready to participate in a standby force that could intervene in Niger. This could not happen because of the strong alliance formed by these countries. In the nearly 50 years that the bloc has existed, this is the first time that its members are leaving in this way. According to analysts, it represents a further danger to the stability of the region and an extraordinary blow to the group. The 15-nation regional bloc economic community of West African states was established in 1975 with one goal: to promote cooperation and integration, to raise the living standards of its people, and to maintain and enhance economic stability. Since then, it has developed as the leading political authority in the area, frequently working with states to address domestic issues ranging from politics to the economy and security. But have they been raising the living standards of their people? Some people think that ECOWAS is quickly losing the respect and allegiance of many West Africans. They feel that it does not adequately represent their interests in a region where people have long complained that their country's abundant natural resources are not helping them. This withdrawal could further weaken ECOWAS. The withdrawal could further destabilize the already fragile political landscape of West Africa, potentially emboldening extremist groups and fueling regional security concerns. Losing three member states would shrink the bloc's market, potentially impacting trade flows, investment opportunities, and economic growth across the bloc. Bear in mind that all this is coming up after ECOWAS accused Burkina Faso early this month of carrying out repressive actions, including the arrest of political and civil society figures, and an alleged illegal and arbitrary requisition procedure to suppress freedom of expression. The Burkina government vehemently disputed these accusations and reiterated its commitment to following the law in the war against terror. The transition government called on the ECOWAS Commission to use caution in carrying out its mandate and refused to be swayed by what it regarded as creative communications. They also questioned the constant commitment of the ECOWAS Commission and called for respect for the country's choices. We all know Ibrahim Traoré is a very powerful man. He is a good leader. Could he be the one instigating these countries to join him? Ponder on that as we continue. Whatever the case, these countries have been having problems with the bloc. We can remember when huge crowds gathered in Mali's capital, Bamako, and other towns in January 2022 to denounce sanctions imposed on the country by the ECOWAS and West African Economic and Monetary Union. Protesters responded to a televised address by the transitional president and military leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, in which he described the sanctions as illegal, illegitimate, and inhumane, and invited public mobilization to denounce them. The sanctions made many Malians angry and awakened a sense of patriotism that benefited the transitional government. The diplomatic, trade, and financial restrictions included a trade embargo and the freezing of Mali's assets at the Central Bank of West African states. The measures were intended to isolate Mali, weaken its economy, and encourage citizens to pressure their leaders into speeding up elections, adding to the external pressure from the country's main diplomatic partners. But the strategy hasn't worked. By repeatedly imposing sanctions, the organization is seen in Mali as a punisher rather than a partner. Many have forgotten its central role in helping Mali's armed forces fight insecurity since the crisis started. So, if these countries have decided to withdraw, it only means that they were benefiting little or nothing as members of the bloc. But what is the process of withdrawal from the bloc? According to the ECOWAS Treaty, a member state that wishes to leave the bloc must submit a one-year written notice to the leadership, after which such a state shall cease to be a member of the community. According to the treaty, the state intending to withdraw must nevertheless observe the provisions and fulfill its commitments under the accord during that year. However, ECOWAS said it was yet to be notified about the three countries' decision to quit, and that for now, they remained important members of the body. While the military commanders of the three countries concentrate on looking for new alliances, analysts predict that ECOWAS will look to maintain discussions with the military leaders on how to best maintain peace in the area. One thing is clear. The ECOWAS's decision to utilize sanctions as a primary instrument to overthrow the coups that have been going on in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger has resulted in a worsening of relations between the bloc and these countries. Observers also perceive the alliance of Sahel states, which the military leaders formed in November, as an effort to gain legitimacy for their military regimes, look for security cooperation, and grow more autonomous from ECOWAS. As we said earlier, the previously cordial ties between the three countries and the wealthier countries of the West and Europe had deteriorated. Russia is now in the picture. Russia has extended greater hospitality and persists in exploiting anti-French feeling by portraying itself to African states as a nation that is very powerful and willing to work with them. Wagner, a Russian mercenary company, has been operating in Mali, supporting the local army in fighting armed insurgents. Russian soldiers arrived in Burkina Faso last week with the goal of strengthening military and strategic cooperation between the two nations. Senior leaders from Niger and Russia have also lately hosted each other. In July, Russian President Vladimir Putin offered free grain to 6 African countries, telling African leaders at a conference in St. Petersburg that Moscow was making efforts to avert a global food crisis. Burkina Faso and Mali were among these countries. This withdrawal might be the beginning of an end for ECOWAS. Some countries might perceive the bloc as unable to address their concerns effectively, particularly regarding security threats, economic integration, or internal political situations, and decide to leave as well. What have other member states got to say about this withdrawal? Guinea-Bissau President Umaro Sissoko Embalo expressed understanding of the frustrations of the departing nations, but also called for continued dialogue and efforts to strengthen ECOWAS. President Nana Akufo-Addo called for calm and emphasized the need for internal reforms within ECOWAS to address concerns raised by member states. Some member states have chosen to maintain a more cautious approach, avoiding public pronouncements until the process unfolds further. Beyond official statements, the issue has also ignited online discussions and debates, with citizens across West Africa voicing their opinions on social media platforms. While some express concerns about the future of ECOWAS, others support the departing nation's right to self-determination and call for reforms within the bloc. We can't say ECOWAS has never done anything good for its member states. In April 2012, for example, it negotiated the restoration of constitutional rule in Mali after the ousting of President Amadou Toumani Touré in a military coup. Then in September 2015, after a military putsch in Burkina Faso, it facilitated the return of interim President Michael Kafando. In January 2017, it secured a democratic transition of power in the Gambia after longtime leader Yahya Jammeh, who had lost the December 2016 presidential election to current President Adama Barrow, tried to unlawfully remain in office. For a while, it seemed like ECOWAS could effectively protect democracy within its region of influence. Admirably, there was not a single undemocratic change of power in West Africa from 2015 to 2020. Things had to change really fast. The future of integration in West Africa is clouded by the possible exit of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali from ECOWAS. One thing is certain, even though the immediate ramifications are still unknown, the bloc is at a turning point in its history. The complaints of the leaving countries, which range from perceived inefficiencies to security issues, highlight the necessity for ECOWAS to reflect. Can the bloc change its goals and organizational structures to better meet the various requirements of its member states? Can it promote an atmosphere that values communication and mutual gain and is more open, inclusive, and transparent? The responses to these queries will be crucial in determining whether the ECOWAS becomes stronger and more cohesive, or whether a possible breakup occurs. Other members are not just observers. Their decisions to take a wait-and-see stance, push for reform, or engage constructively will have a big impact on the future. The months ahead will be crucial. The ability of the countries in the West African area to successfully negotiate this difficult crossroads collectively will determine not only the future prosperity and stability of ECOWAS, but also that of the whole region. Do you think more countries will join Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Encourage us to keep making videos like this for you by liking this video and subscribing to the New Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too, so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.